All right, guys, we're back with another episode on the 1400 horsepower Charger. I totally forgot how complicated the bolt types on the Hemi pattern were from the factory spec. There's like 3 or 4 different bolts between US and metric. Anyway, I had to remember all that, not too big of a deal. We still have to attach the torque converter to the flex plate. So we might end up doing that this episode as well. Otherwise, we're just going to leave that until it's actually in the car so we can get access to it fairly easily. But since we can actually get underneath of this with this raised, we might be able to do that as well. So, but the big thing out of the capability now with having this transmission and transfer case attached to the engine is for the measurement of the front drive shaft. So we're probably going to start off with taking some measurements here and getting that final distance for our drive shaft. Again, this is a modern Durango drive shaft. Well, actually now they just, I think, went out of production, but the last generation of Durango and Jeep Cherokee, this is its front wheel drive shaft system. So it is much larger than the stock Charger front wheel drive shaft. The key for the reason of doing this is because that Charger one we know will fail at the power level that we're going to be taking this to once we get a blower on top of this. So we need to be able to get adapters like we had done on our Bronco project to get the spacing between the front differential and the output of the transfer case for the front. So we're going to go and take some measurements from this surface to this surface and get that final measurement. This actual drive shaft, we're not really intending to change. There's an option to get a carbon fiber one down the road. We may end up opting to do that, but right now we're going to try and pick just the standard length for the front and rear. And you'll actually see when I mock it up here that we just clear on the bell housing. That's the closest part. We have plenty of other plenty clearance everywhere else, but it's just the front bell housing right in this area. Oops. So we've got to get the adapter so it fits just perfect with our largest section here. This drive shaft is about 2.5 inches in diameter, and then these friction weld areas are about 2.65 to 2.7, and the final carbon fiber drive shaft is about 2.75, but it's got a lot longer steel section going into the CV flange itself. So that'll probably help us out here on the front. So we're probably going to opt for a little bit thicker section right here so that we can take advantage of that on the carbon fiber if we opt to it in the future. So otherwise, pretty straightforward setup. It's a perfect arrangement with 4 bolts here. It's actually rectangular instead of square, but we've already got that mapped in our first 3D prints that we tried for this. We've got like 6 of them. We ended up changing CVs as well, since we went from a little bit larger 100 millimeter down to, I think these are 93, 94 millimeter CVs. Regardless, that's the key here, so that we can get these adapters made. We already got some pucks of 7075 aluminum that we're going to be getting machined, again, just like the Bronco adapter for the front. And that will hopefully satisfy our issues with the front drive system for a while, and actually let us have all-wheel drive. So beyond that, in this episode, we're probably going to start getting the rest of the engine and the powertrain fully dressed, as it should be. Obviously, we've got the old Hemi over here for reference. We've already taken off most of the sensors, coolant, oil, things like that, but we just have it here for reference. Beyond that, we're going to get the accessories and everything on the front situated. We just finished painting the additional, the AC condenser, the alternator, and then one segment of the all-wheel drive output that covers the jack shaft there. So we're gonna get all that kind of stuff mounted. We'll probably be able to throw in plugs, throw in coils, and then it's kind of a grouping of what we actually have to do for the Whipple supercharger to go on top of this. But again, the intention is get it all as dressed as possible, so we don't have to do any work on it in the car, since it's just so much easier to access the parts here with the powertrain out, and try and get everything connected that we can. And then ultimately, hopefully in the next episode or two, we will be moving this entire powertrain into the charger. So let's go and get to it, guys. All right, so we just got this measured finally. So we got about 26 and 9/16 between this surface and the surface of the front differential, and our Durango drive shaft, almost fully extended. We don't want to fully bottom it out, but almost fully extended is about 24 3/4. So with the extension that these CV joints have back and forth on either side, that would allow us to get it in with our adapters. So let's see, what's that difference? We've got about 2 inches basically to play with on the front and on the back that we need to add, and we'll probably just end up doing again a 2 identical pieces for that, and that should get us entirely fine. Again, you can kind of see in this bulge there's a little bit less space here at the front, a little bit more on this one. So as long as the notch of that CV is kind of perfectly placed right here, we really shouldn't have a problem. So that's what we're going to go ahead and get 3D printed again. We'll have some new adapters, and then as soon as we're happy with this drive shaft, we're going to go and get the ones made out of aluminum, CNC'd, everything like that, and then we might even get a carbon fiber drive shaft for this. So that's everything that we can do on this one right now. A few other things we're going to do: we're probably going to take off this rear trans mount for the transfer case, get that one all cleaned up, and like I said, the accessories and the sensors. So let's go ahead and start with the sensors. All right, guys, so we got most all the sensors in, coolant, some of the oil, and the passageways for the coolant all the way to the back for the heater core. So now that we got that, I was looking at throwing in the plugs. The issue is we are going to need to grab some colder step plugs. The ones that came with the Whipple kit, which are right here, are great plugs from NGK, but these are essentially 7-step. And we want an equivalent NGK 8-step, but I'm looking at the Brisk, I think it's ER12S, to run in this for ultimately the horsepower that we're trying to get. So I'm probably gonna grab a set of 16 of those, and in the meantime, we're just gonna go ahead and throw on our coils, make sure everything fits that way, and we will come back and gap the Brisk plugs that we get, or NGK step 8s, one way or another, and throw those in there. But ultimately we're going to probably run a step 8 for these plugs, and it's probably going to be somewhere between 0.2 and 0.3. We've got a nice tool here, just grabbed it, used to just do it by hand, but to get the spark plugs all the same consistent size with a set of feeler gauge. So we're going to throw in all of these coil packs here real quick on both sides and see how it looks.